Hey you guys, this is Raphael from Relics.com. I hope each one of you guys are having a great day. I hope you're safe. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're staying away from other people because you know I've said it a lot. I just want you to be safe and healthy because I love you. Today we're going to talk about our first firearm. And firearms are something that deserve respect. All of the weapons that I sell are antiques. They're classified as antiques by the ATF because they were all made before December 31st, 1898. That's what they qualify as the break-off date for an antique weapon. Today we're going to talk about one of the most famous guns of the Civil War, the Colt Army 44 caliber revolver. This is one of the largest production guns that Colt made. They made them from 1860 to 1873. To a collector, it's very important to get it below the serial number of 156,000 because that's the approximate date that they made it to by the end of 1865. They made 200,000 and just a little over 200,000 of these guns during the production run. Because of that quantity, condition is everything to a Colt collector. There are two things about Colt collectors. One, they're way picky. And two, they like to mess with their guns if something isn't perfect. So you have to consider the value of a Colt by what has been done to the gun and the originality of the gun. And you see a wide range in prices. There's a couple of things you want to look for on them. One, with a Colt, you'll like to see all matching serial numbers. And Colt loved his serial numbers. Some of the early guys that worked for him decided, hey, we can make our own guns and cut him out. And they did exactly that. So Colt says, well, screw that. I have spent my life working on this. I'm going to be the one that makes the money. So he had people, instead of knowing how to make every piece on the gun, he had people that would make the barrels, and he had people that would make the grips, and he had people that would make the cylinders. But no one person should know in the Colt factory how to make the whole gun. And that's why a Colt has serial numbers on everything. They'll have them on the barrel, on the cylinder, on the back strap, because he didn't want anybody else to screw him over the way those first guys tried to. So you want to see all the numbers matching. You want to see the clear markings. Along the top of the barrel on most Colts, they will have the New York location of the sales office. That's not where they're made. They're made in Hartford, Connecticut. And you'll also want to see most all of the Colts Army model revolvers will have a naval scene going around the cylinder. And it depicts the battle between the Mexican Navy and the Texas Navy. Looked cool, so they put it on there. And you'll want to see as much of that as possible. Colts came out with blue on the barrel and the case colors on certain parts. You want to see as much of the blue and as much of the case color original as you can. And the more you see, the better. This one is just a gray gun, meaning it's just brown and gray all over, no finish. It's one you know saw service. And that's what I like because I like the thought of it being used by that soldier during the war. A gray gun like this with all matching numbers, which this is, will sell somewhere in the $1,500 to $2,000 range. Now you get the same gun, but with all of the blue, with all of the case color, with the varnish still on the grips, all the markings perfect on it, it can bring tens of thousands of dollars. So remember, if they make a ton of them, the condition is everything on one. But I like them because you can tell it's been used. During the Civil War, the U.S. government bought 127,156 of these guns. That leaves a lot that were sold privately. And sometimes it would be because you had a wealthy guy that wanted a good-looking gun and a dependable gun like the Colt Army. And sometimes you would have them where they were rejected by the government because they had to be a good enough quality for the government to buy it. If you were that rich gentleman that wanted to buy the gun, you could go into a dealer and get it custom built the way you want. Some of them stayed here and some of them went overseas. This is one that a collector, when they see this case, this particular style case, you're like, that's a European case and it's an English case because of the brass banding. And when you open up the case, I like this. This is one, when I saw it, I went, I need to own that. And it's a 1860 that was shipped to England. And it has the same Colt markings, but it has additional ones. When a gun was sold over there, it had to be proof marked. And this one has the correct English proof marks. It not only has the proof marks, but it has the accessories. In these style cases, they have a bullet mold, they have a gun tool, a powder flask, percussion caps. This one has all the bells and whistles that you want to see on one. So, and this one has a good bit of the finish that you like to see. And that makes a lot of difference to a Colt collector, especially those Colt collectors that collect variations, because not as many of them went overseas and not as many of them went to London. This one has all matching numbers, finish, and those Colt numbers. So to a Colt guy, wow, that's something I need to own. And so this, in the case, with all the accessories, is worth today about $7,500. So it makes a lot of difference, the style and the condition. You can talk about these forever, and it feels like I have. I know I've thrown a lot of crap at you, but there's a lot to know about them. And that's one of the cool things about collecting. There's always another variation when you're dealing with Civil War memorabilia. It's my passion. I hope I get to share more of my passion with you. Remember, even though they're antique guns, they should always be treated as they are loaded. You should always respect a gun because it's not a play toy. It should never be played with as a play toy. It should always be respected. And we should always teach our children that when you see a gun, assume it's loaded no matter how old it is. Because I always want you guys to be safe. I always want you to be careful. And I always love you. I hope y'all have a great evening. And thank you again for letting me have some of your time.